Baby, if there's one saga that spun more loops than a soap opera, it's the messy tale of Romecha'S death, tangled with her baby daddy Carlos Los and his girlfriend Cordia Johnson, better known as Holly Johnson. Lord, picture this. Dropping your son at school and suddenly your baby daddy's other baby mama rolls up and ends your life. That's the brutal fate of Romecha'S, caught in a violent clash with another woman just moments. Right after she left her son at school in Chicago's South Loop, tragedy struck. The woman blasted her at point-blank range while the baby daddy pinned her in a headlock. Broad daylight, no shame. Full public spectacle.
Deadly happened this morning right here along Cermak near State after loved ones of the victim say she had just dropped her son at school.
Okay, when the story first exploded, whispers claimed the baby daddy actually called the hit. People said he'd been menacing Rocha even before she filed that restraining order. That's how it was first painted. But now the tale's flipped. Holly and the dad were the ones dropping the kid at school, while Rocha showed up with his lunch, turned hostile, and the other woman supposedly lashed out in self-defense. Self-defense. And here's the kicker, Holly walked free right after her arrest, and word is the case is basically closed. Yes, darling, it gets messy, eh? Folks are buzzing that the streets won't lift a finger, and the only reason she's out is because there's way more to this twisted tale than we're being told. And after a little digging, I found reports claiming the alleged shooter actually had a protection order against Rocha, plus stacks of videos showing her threatening and pressing the woman. Some insist the cops wouldn't have freed Holly if she'd been guilty. Others swear they saw clips of Meeks going full-on aggressive, stalking baby mama number 2. And just when I thought it couldn't possibly get any messier, witnesses popped up saying the second baby mama and the baby daddy rolled up in separate cars. And that leaves a burning question. Why the double ride? Could it be they staged the whole thing, carefully dressing it up as self-defense? I told you, this saga's nothing but twists. So let's dive straight into the chaos. So, like I told you, the first headlines claimed cops said Rocha had just left her son's South Loop school when she ran into Holly, the other baby mama. What started as a shouting match exploded into a full-blown brawl. Witnesses swore Holly whipped out a gun mid-scrap and blasted Rocha point-blank in the face. Broad daylight, no hesitation. In the chaos, her baby daddy showed up and, instead of breaking it up, allegedly made things worse. After the brutal scene, EMTs rushed Meeks to Stroger Hospital, but it was already too late. She was pronounced dead, leaving her little boy and a shattered family begging for justice. Loved ones, neighbors, and friends have since held vigils, demanding answers and remembering Rocha as a devoted, loving mother whose entire world was her son. Reports say Rocha was studying to be a nurse, hustling hard while staying a present, loving mom. But in a flash, that little boy lost everything. And the most gut-wrenching part? A handwritten note Rocha tucked into her son's lunchbox that very morning surfaced online, and the internet made it go viral. In that note, she called Monday a fresh start, then poured her heart out to her boy. You can start off strong. Always remain yourself. You're the coolest, smartest, funniest kid I know. I love you so much, and you make me proud every single day. Have a great one. Mommy loves you. Love, Mommy. Now, folks are whispering this wasn't some random blow-up. It was premeditated, fueled by the new baby mama's jealousy. Word is she knew her man was still hung up on his first baby mama, because let's be real, Rocha was stunning, well-dressed, thriving, and a devoted mom who had escaped the chaos of that toxic baby daddy. Reports say she'd endured Carlos's raging narcissism, but finally found peace living far away from him. In fact, an online petition laid it bare, stressing that her tragic death is a chilling reminder of the domestic violence epidemic that still festers in silence, tucked away behind closed doors. The petition noted that the time has come for our community and our leaders to take a stand against the DV that threatens the fabric of our society. It also noted how we must take proactive measures to prevent such tragedies from recurring and called upon local law enforcement and government officials to rigorously investigate Romecha'S incident, ensuring that justice is served swiftly and fairly because this is a matter of utmost importance to restore faith in the community and the safety of our neighborhoods and our schools. Furthermore, it urged for the expansion of DV awareness programs and increased funding for resources that support those who have been affected by, offering education and refuge to dismantle the cycle and protect those at risk. Then it concluded by saying that no one should live in fear in their own home and no child should lose their parent because of such an incident. But the nightmare didn't stop there. That's when community outrage exploded. Police confirmed the woman accused of firing the shot was hauled into custody, yet only days later she walked free with 0 charges. Even the witnesses swore they saw the whole thing go down. In one viral clip, you can even hear Holly bragging she's licensed to carry. Witnesses shouted that the man had Romecha locked in a headlock right before she was shot. Then another woman demanded cops lock Holly up, swearing she watched her attack Romecha and stash the gun in her car. Now tell me, does it really add up that Holly would just ambush Romecha at her son's school out of nowhere? Well, apparently. That's because there's a whole other side to this saga. Insiders claim this is the version of events that explains why Holly's walking free without charges in Romecha'S death. According to sources, Claudia didn't drive down from Wisconsin that morning. She was already at Carlos's place, and the two went together to drop off Carlos and Romecha'S son at school. Reports say Romecha later came back to deliver her boy's lunch, and when she spotted Deja stepped up to confront her, and chaos broke out in a full-blown fight. At the time, Deja reportedly had an active protection order against Romecha. Sources claim Romecha came in hot as the aggressor, and during the scuffle Deja hit back. But here's where the whole thing turns murky and messy. Other witnesses popped up with a totally different version, saying both Deja, the second baby mama, and Carlos, the baby daddy, actually pulled up to the school in separate cars, and that little detail has the internet side-eye burning. People ask why they'd roll up in separate cars if they came from the same house. Coincidence? Or a setup, staged right before the shooting to sell the self-defense story? About what happened? Look, this rumor mill has sparked a darker theory. Maybe this wasn't a random fight at all, but a planned ambush dressed up as self-defense. The family isn't buying the claims circling online. They insist someone must answer for this. At the memorial, the mother cried that her little boy is crushed, refusing to speak to anyone, and that all they want is justice. Personally, I think the truth needs daylight and swift public answers are overdue. I'm honestly stunned at how this case is drowning in contradictions and question marks. Witness stories clash, that protection order muddies everything, and those viral clips. They've only poured gasoline on an already blazing fire. Was Romecha truly the aggressor that day, or was the whole showdown something deeper? Did Deja really lash out in fear, or was this chaos simmering long before it exploded? And then creeps in the bigger, darker theory. Could this whole thing have been premeditated? With chatter about Deja and Carlos pulling up in separate cars, some are now daring to ask if the baby daddy himself staged the attack, ordering the hit, and dressing it up as self-defense. So many twists, so many theories, yet barely a shred of solid truth. Was this just a tragic fight that spiraled out of control, or a cold, calculated setup from the jump? Is the case truly closed? Baby, until fresh evidence surfaces, all we've got is speculation and whispers in the wind. Demand justice for Romecha'S. But until then, drop your thoughts on how this wild case is unraveling right now in the comments. I want to hear every angle.